Hello, everyone, and welcome to Answer the Call. I'm bad at my job for doing these videos, but I've known for about a week now that we were going to talk about the cargo refactor on this week's Answer the Call. I should probably be putting out tweets. I should probably be putting posts on my YouTube channel for you guys to know that we're going to be here to do this, so you can come on the show and share that out. But I think we were all a little bit scatterbrained this week as far as everything that's going on. I do want to say, first off, that there will be a link in the description for a fundraiser for another Star Citizen community content creator that has been on this show a couple times and is a very good friend of a lot of ours, and that's Space Cutlet, who lives in Kiev and has been trying to find his way out. Unfortunately, he was in line to get out and was very close to leaving Ukraine and going over to the Polish border, and then he was conscripted. He's still trying to kind of work his way out, and we've done a fundraiser because he lost everything. So he needs things for when he does leave Ukraine. He has a young daughter with a broken leg and a wife. His wife doesn't want to leave him, and it's a situation where he needs to leave in order to keep them safe. It's not like one of I've seen some people say some really terrible things, like, you know, he should stay and fight for his country and things like that. His wife won't leave him. In order to keep his family safe, he needs to leave. So it's one of those things where please consider supporting this, so when he does leave, he's able to restart his life and take care of his family, because the man lost everything, as well as many other people did, and it's a very, very, very crazy situation that I wouldn't even attempt to try to understand. And I just think I'm going to talk about the cargo refactor and try and escape for an hour today, you know, just from watching the news and all those things. And I totally understand if you may feel that this is insensitive. I think we all cope different ways, and for me, distractions are the way that I cope sometimes, because I do really start to focus heavily on things like that, and I've been nonstop on this occupation that's been going on, right? So about the cargo refactor. I don't think that there is a bigger item on the roadmap that we see that is coming this year that includes, for me, this is just my personal opinion, I think things like server meshing and persistence and those are major pillars to the game. But cargo, from a gameplay standpoint, touches everybody and everything. At some point, you're going to take some cargo, you're going to put it on a ship, you're going to sell it, you may use it, inventory, all those things, right? They all factor in to the cargo refactor. You know, when you click I in your ship now and that inventory shows up, maybe that inventory isn't going to be as big, because with the cargo refactor, you may be placing those items into a box and then keeping them on your ship instead of just pressing I and having this magical inventory, right? There's a lot of things that have to change. We watched an SCL about the cargo refactor that was 6 months old. I'm going to link that in the Twitch chat right now. I'm going to try to do this intro as short as possible to get to the callers, but I have a lot that I have to say on this. This needs to hit good. This needs to be really good, this cargo refactor. We are 10 years into development, and somebody mentioned earlier there's a lot of new players that come into the game that don't have the history of we are in the 10th year of development kind of situation, and they're seeing what's in the game now. They're seeing that there's a ton of potential. It's really good. If we see cargo changing from non-physicalized to only physicalized cargo, that I think is going to be a problem. I think that is not... We're not pushing the game forward fast enough. And it's weird because I don't mean from a pace standpoint. I mean, if we're going to deliver the cargo refactor, if you're going to deliver salvage, if you're going to deliver mining, if you're going to deliver... Tier 0 needs to mean something different. And I am very concerned that they've kind of given themselves a bit of an out here that I don't think that they should take. So when watching that Cargo Refactor or the USPU feature team ICL Live that we watched today, they gave themselves a bit of an out saying the Cargo Refactor is physicalizing cargo. But we also have this persistent hanger thing that will be where the gameplay of cargo happens. I don't necessarily like the gameplay of cargo, of having to move and place the boxes in and out of your ship. I get what they're going. I think it's going to be a little tedious. It might not be that fun, but I'm not going to give any real opinions on that until it's in-game, and I get a feel for it. I trust their judgment on that one, and we'll see if it's fun or not. Okay? That's how I feel about that. The issue with this is we've seen persistent hangers be delayed. So now it sounds like the Cargo Refactor can be a very small iteration on what we currently have, but it will have some impacts to things like piracy and other things. Now, for me, what the Cargo Refactor and what its impact needs to be is it needs to do a lot of things. I need to see missions related to cargo when the Cargo Refactor comes in. I need to see the ability to play with your org better, easier, more functional when the Cargo Refactor comes in. We need to see issues with piracy and the ownership of things be refactored as well. Right now, pirates only have one place to sell things that are stolen, and it never works. Right? There used to be those don't ask questions, terminals. They never work when selling. There are so many issues with these things. The economy of commodities and the way the current economy works needs to be completely changed, because most people just chain bounty hunter missions because that's the most effective way to make money. A lot of things need to be looked at on what players do and why they do them. I think a lot of people would rather run cargo than do bounty missions to make money, but they feel like they have to, and I'm one of these people. They feel like they have to because the risk versus the reward of cargo just isn't there. And that's why I think cargo missions are something that are essential to come with those things. And then lastly, real quick, what I mean about cargo with orgs is there's a lot of issues right now with playing with others. You can only buy and sell from things that you own. They've talked about a freight elevator. It's still kind of problematic in that way because you can only buy and sell from your own freight elevator. So there's a lot of like loops and hoops that you have to jump through to even make it work as a player. They should be focusing now with the game in the state that it is, because getting together with players, frame rates are a little bit better. It's getting better to the point where we feel and can see the things that are missing. And multi-crew and interacting with other people on every aspect of the game is what people are starting to want to do, and that's really problematic. And then the last thing I would say is they need to kind of, in a way, I think people are going to be upset about this, nerf the idea of people flying massive multi-crew ships alone. Is there no managing of that cargo? Will cargo be factored by force reactions? Will they get damaged? Things like that. Will players in the back of the cargo ship need to manage that cargo and make sure it's safe? Things like that. So I don't know if all those things need to be in the first iteration of cargo, but for me, I want to hear how big it needs to be for you, how important it is to you, what about it is important to you. Because for me, the most important thing is for mining, multi-crew aspects, and I need to see cargo missions. We need to have a mission where it's pick this up here, go over there, make this much money. There's no buy-in. It's you are being paid to do something for somebody else. That's what I want to see. All right. So without further ado, let's bring in our first caller, who is Jab Loca, who's been waiting for a very long time. Jab, welcome to you, dude. How are you?
Hello, doing pretty good, pretty good. Sunny today, so yeah.
Nice. Let me turn you up just a bit. Don't worry about turning up yourself. I have you lower than normal for some reason. So you should be good now. Go ahead and talk. So what about the cargo refactor is good? What about the cargo refactor that you want to see? What's really important to you? From what knowledge we have of what they've said, what do you think it's going to be in this first iteration, and how willing are you to accept a massively tier 0 version of a cargo refactor, which I have a sneaky feeling is what we're going to get?
I think it's gonna bring the biggest change to ship combat, because most people just shoot to kill with big cargo ships, ships in general.
Yeah.
But now there's like a big reason, if cargo is like a non-ownership thing, to not destroy ships. And I truly hope we get also like an implementation how to slow down ships if you disable them, because at the moment they keep their momentum, so you just it doesn't help.
Yes.
If you can slow those ships down with like a tractor beam or something, then piracy could be a thing in space. But I'm not holding my breath on that.
Agreed.
And also, indeed, we need a place to sell that cargo, and at the moment there is like a broken place and it doesn't work for a few patches. But yeah, hopefully we can get like a tier 1 or a tier 2 implementation instead of a tier 0 implementation. But
for me, it could be tier 0, but tier 0 needs to mean something different than what it did before. The game
but it won't. We all know that.
I don't think we do. We have to start changing the narrative here. This is something that I think a lot of players who are white knighty about the game versus a lot of people who are a little bit more upset about the game kind of all are looking at it in the wrong way. I've been saying this a lot lately. Yes, Star Citizen is an alpha, but Star Citizen is also a live service, and that is what makes the game entirely different from every other game out there. Every other alpha out there, you can't call it an alpha like another alpha may be, or you can't call it an alpha from a game development standpoint, because they're not developing the game in this gray box state without, they're developing the game live in what would be, from an art standpoint, a very not tier 0 way, right? So why is the art okay to be, pretty polished and far along and not anything else? So the idea for me is we're coming to a point where the game, from an art standpoint, has progressed so far that people really do want to play games, a video game, and play the aspects of the game that they've been looking forward to for a very long time. And it's time to start delivering as much of that as possible. And one thing that I may not have said in my monologue is, if they can't implement a lot of the features that they want to put in, I am 1,000% for delaying the feature until it is more featureful. I've been very vocal about what I want to see from future Star Citizen patches are, this is the cargo patch. And the cargo patch should have cargo deck functionality, should have cargo missions, should have physicalized cargo, and, other things. So I'll shut up. I'm sorry. But yeah, it's so big and it means so much to me that I might be a little talkative on this one.
Yeah, I do agree with that, but I can't be hopeful with that because I will get disappointed.
Yeah.
And they have set no precedent on that, because at the moment everything has been implemented with a tier 0 policy. Even look at looting. It's bare minimum, and there's even selling, and next patch is going to be selling. And like most games implement looting with selling. So
that's fair, but think about this. We've already had the tier 0 version of cargo. We already have it. We never had the tier 0 version of looting.
That's true. And making it physical already changes the game of like a big way.
Sure.
And people tend to forget with moving boxes, we're gonna get bigger boxes. So moving boxes is gonna be a lot less time expensive.
Mm-hmm.
And we're gonna get, I think they said in one SCL that we're also gonna get like big SEU boxes, like 10 SEU or 100 SEU. Like those big container boxes you see on outside the Hull C or the Hull A.
The Argo Raft, right?
Argo Raft,
we get the Argo Raft. Those should become physical with the cargo refactor and will be able to be lifted and taken off and all that stuff.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And there needs to be a tractor beam for that to move.
Sure.
And hopefully the Caterpillar gets a tractor beam, like it already has a tractor beam, but it doesn't.
The Cutlass as well.
Yeah, the Cutlass and other craft, they need to be implemented as well, so we can move those stuff around. And not sure what they're gonna do with the cargo decks, because yes, the cargo decks are a thing, but how are they gonna move stuff between the cargo deck and the pad or the hangar? Oh, I don't mind if it's magical, because it's still a game. Come on, you can't wait for half an hour to load stuff.
Well, here's the thing: is on the roadmap is, I'll see if it may pop up over you for a second, but I kind of want to show chat this as well, so I'll do my best to bring it up. On the progress tracker is an update to the commodity kiosks, which convert. Let me see if I can bring this up on this scene. Yes, okay.
That should help with multiplayer stuff, because if someone else can interact with the kiosk, you only have to activate it, then run away to your ship, and someone else can do stuff.
I don't think that'll be the way it is, unfortunately. But they're basically just saying there's a commodity kiosk update that is actively happening, but it ends in April of this year on the roadmap. Again, the line ending is not indicative of it finishing and being done and being implemented in the game. So we don't know, but we do know that they kind of fall in line together with the cargo system refactor, right? And converting them to kiosks says that it will add loading timers. So I'm not even sure that with the persistent hangars being delayed, that the let's bring you back. Without the persistent hangars, we may not see the physicalized cargo that we load onto our ship yet. It may be physicalized, but it may be magically placed in the ship, because the loading timers also could just be I don't want to physically load this thing, so I'm going to make the choice to do the loading timer, which is similar to the refinery decks, I would imagine.
Yeah, if it's like the refinery decks, you can like choose your timer, plus you can expedite it, then I'm completely fine with it.
Yeah.
Like pay an extra 1,000 UEC or 10,000 UEC to, let's say it's 5 minutes, to make it like 1 minute or something.
Sure.
Completely fine with that. And I'm not sure they're gonna implement the missions with it first. I hope for it, but I don't really mind if they make it properly physical and you can just sell it like without ownership. That should be a fine first tier 0 for me. Missions need to be fast after that, but I don't really mind, because I think that's a broader economy thing than just cargo refactor.
Sure. And as always, guys, this is obviously Answer the Call. This is our podcast where we bring members from the community on, and I give them my platform that I've spent years and years trying to make as large as possible, for people who don't normally have the platform that I do, to be able to speak their mind and share their opinions about all this, these kinds of things. And you guys can join the show as well right now if you're watching live on Twitch, discord.gg/SaltEMike. Join the green room. It's got the little green dot there. And if you're watching on YouTube, you can join as well. Sundays around 10 a.m. Eastern. Right now it's 9 a.m. Eastern. And you guys can join the show and we can talk about whatever that topic may be this week. All right. Sorry, Jab. The mission thing, I think, is really, really, really something that this is something where I want to see them change the way they develop the game altogether. I have no expectations of seeing missions there, but I really do believe that they should just, if you can't do missions, delay it. Like that, but maybe if you can't do missions, tell us why you can't.
Yeah,
because you could do missions now to go pick up boxes, right? There's no reason you can't do that at a larger scale, is how I look at it.
True, but I think it's more of a manpower thing than it is. Like, yeah, it's difficult to say with the mission system because because I'm more often in chat, so I know that they can't really implement stuff because server meshing, etc. It doesn't really make sense to implement them now. So I'm not holding my breath on that one. And I also think outposts are gonna be more important, but less important because moving stuff in bulk is gonna be difficult on outposts because at the moment we're already.
Yeah, where does the cargo even spawn at an outpost?
Exactly, and how much can you spawn? How long will it take on outposts? We have no clue because they keep talking about space stations and landing zones, but they haven't really talked about outposts
at all.
Yeah, so I wonder what their plan is going to be with that one because, say, cargo loading takes 10 minutes.
Mm-hmm.
It's going to be difficult to vent it. But it's also a good thing because it gives an option to hire people. But it's too vulnerable. It's just too vulnerable on the path.
This is something that somebody said in chat that I just can't help but say. This has been the biggest problem with cargo, that as of right now, from what we understand, without missions, the cargo refactor does not solve. What do you do if you want to run cargo, but you have a small cargo ship? What does the freelancer do? What does the hull A do? What does the hull B do? What does the cutlass do with cargo?
It doesn't make sense if the prices are going to be the same. Like, cool, they're physical now, but I still earn like 10% profit or something. That's nothing. And you still risk losing all your money. It's a risk, but not for 10%. Cargo refactor needs to come with a economy refactor, but it doesn't have to be huge. Just,
I think, okay, well, here's where I think I want to start getting into this discussion then, because 10% profit, I don't know, I've never taken a business class. I've never run my own business aside from this stream, which is, streaming. If people tip or whatever, you subscribe, there's not a lot of expenses to streaming aside from the equipment and your internet, but like consistent expenses, there aren't many. With commodity trading, you have your buy-in and then you have your profit in the game. I don't know what a reasonable profit margin would be. That's a question that I want to pose to you and the other callers that are coming in, because they did mention in that SCL that they feel that with the cargo refactor should be a complete refactor of the way the economy works around them. But I mean, here's the thing: is if the margins on a certain commodity are super duper high, even if you limit the amount, even the big cargo ships are going to scoop it all up and sell it. So what makes the smaller cargo haulers valuable, what doesn't? But then also, again, what should that margin be and why? Help me understand. That's one of the benefits that I get out of this show, is I learn from you guys as well.
Like 10% isn't bad, but the issue is you can only load for like 10,000 UEC, for example, on a small ship.
Yeah.
Then your profit's only got to be 1,000 UEC. Why do that mission at all? You can do like a disposed waste mission for 3k. It doesn't make sense to run that cargo and risk 10k. It just doesn't make sense. That's why indeed missions need to be implemented, so you just haul cargo, not trade. trading is fine. Keep that system in, but also give an option just to haul cargo and not risk your own money.
Yeah.
And risking your own money needs to be more profitable. Like hauling cargo, fine, but that needs to be less profitable than risking your own stuff.
Are you familiar with like commodity trading in real life and how that works? Is this at all similar to it?
A little, but because I do a business and management study.
Uh-huh.
But not on like cargo level stuff. But 10% is a lot, but the issue is on the scales that we do it now, it's not.
Mm-hmm.
And that's the main issue. There's keep talking about the Hull C and bigger ships. They need to start looking at the Aurora level, the Avenger level, and the Cutlass level. Like those are the 3 like upgrade paths like people think at the moment. What is profitable and what makes sense for those 3 ships, and then work from there, because those big haulers are going to be important, but they will move stuff in bulk and shouldn't be important right now because the entire economy is not built for those big ships at the moment.
Yeah,
and
they're
not for those small
cargo,
ships,
right? They're essentially buying out everything, and you go to a place and you never are able to fill a ship with them. It's a weird situation.
Exactly. So they need to rethink that, because at the moment nothing is really profitable if you think about it, because it's fake. It's all fake. Yeah. And that's the main issue. So we don't know if a Hull C can make a lot of money at the moment. We don't know if Aurora can make a lot of money at the moment, because the system that it's implemented right now doesn't make sense.
Yeah. I look at I was just like Googling commodity trading a little bit, and it seems like there's like people speculate on what the cost of things may be. And I think that's
where the cargo deck comes in.
The cargo deck, but also the dynamic economy. If you start to see, there's more pirate activity in a certain area, you might think that there might be some money to be made in a certain situation. So you may buy commodities in one place and hold them in a hangar to go bring them there and sell later, right? I think that's what the whole thing around the Ninetales lockdown was meant to simulate, but did very poorly. Was like, oh, here's an opportunity for you. And I assume people bought medical supplies in preparation for that.
Exactly. Beforehand. That's a good example for it. Like, you keep, like, you know that a Ninetales event is going to happen 3 months from now, for example.
Yeah.
Or you're going to do something. You buy it now for a cheap price. You keep it in your hangar or in your cargo place at the cargo deck and wait to sell it at a big profit.
Yep.
And we can't do that at the moment. And that's another like piece of the puzzle with the economy. We can't store cargo. You can store it on your ship, but the price doesn't change.
Yeah. I think the other factor here is that every item that we buy and sell in a commodity market has no value to the player either.
Yeah.
So we're never trading amongst ourselves. Yeah, there's no interacting.
Exactly, like medical supplies. Like, why would you buy med pens if you have like 100 if you have 100 units of like medical supplies? Why would you buy med pens?
Yeah, exactly. Like having medical supplies on a ship with a medical bed should be required in order for the medical bed to function properly, maybe, right? Like little things like that is what I'm referencing here. Is ammunition should be in a box in your ship in order to reload, ammunition or something, or fuel and so on and so forth, right? There's
fuel's coming. That's a good thing.
That's one good thing. Like, I think it's not going to be that great, but I think it's that doesn't matter. It's a piece of the puzzle that's important.
But yeah, it's a piece of the puzzle because you buy fuel at the station and you decide how much you will sell it for. That's like, that could be used for cargo. Like, you buy it at the station, and then you decide your own price, like, for it.
Yeah,
and full imagine like the brand management, like,
yeah, where that's meant to be a little market, right?
yeah, like you buy medical supplies, foods, etc., and you decide your own price for it. But that's full imagine, so
Yeah.
not gonna talk about that.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, it's not that full imagine anymore when they showed us that commodity, or not the commodity kiosk, but the refuel kiosk, right? That screen was had a lot of functionality to it that can be used in other places, like trading commodities with each other. There needs to be a purpose for something like that, but I don't expect something like that for the first implementation. Of course, we need Tony Z to deliver something inside the game in order for that to happen. The closest thing we got is, that's another thing that I haven't mentioned yet. The closest thing we have is the notification thing, right? That pops up and is like, hey,
the commodity notification stuff.
Yeah, there's possibility for profit over here. And then it turns out that, like, there isn't, when you actually follow them. And they're constantly popping up and being super annoying, and nobody uses them, and they still haven't removed them or utilized them. And it's the worry.
Server meshing, etc., etc., etc.
Yeah, the usual. This is the potential of Star Citizen, but we refuse to see it realized in any capacity at the moment because of XYZ issues.
Exactly.
It's frustrating.
I will watch what refueling is gonna bring, and if that's really gonna be smooth and easy to handle, like to transfer money between people, and transfer fuel between your ship, then I'm hopeful for cargo. But
yeah, like I don't see refueling as something that's that exciting, because I've lost my fuel. I did yesterday, which is hilarious.
Yeah,
hilarious. It hasn't happened often, but I actually ran out of fuel yesterday, hydrogen fuel, for the first time ever. I think I've run out of quantum fuel once or twice. Hydrogen fuel, that was the first time I've ever done it, and I just don't see it being that useful of a feature yet. I think they're planning for what it will be later, but I think what you're saying is very
it's for pyro. It's for pyro. They said a few times.
But the functionality of the tools that they're using with it that can be used elsewhere, let's see how smooth that is and see how quickly they can implement those things later on. So, yeah. I don't know. Is there anything else you want to talk about, Jab?
No, that's it. And let's hope for Cutlet's safe return. And,
of course. Absolutely. I think he'll be okay. We just have to be patient at this point. All right, Jab. Be good, buddy.
Have a nice day, everyone.
You too. Bye-bye. All right, our next caller is Henrik. Hello, Henrik. Hello. Henrik, if you could turn your mic or get it closer to your face, that would be good. You're a little bit low. And I know I have you at 200% because of our meetings that we've been having lately.
Is this better?
Try again.
1, 2, 3.
No. I have. You know what? For some reason, I have you low. Okay, you should be fine though.
Nice. So cargo refactoring.
There you go. You're good. Yes, cargo refactoring. What do you think? So, obviously, Henrik has a little bit of background. You're actively in school for game dev.
Software development.
Yeah, software development. So. You have some insights that you can provide here, I'm sure.
I've actually, with the state of our servers right now, I think I don't think it's a thing that you will get all your features you want for this tier 1 of cargo refactoring.
Why? All the features that I ask have nothing to do with NPCs and don't have much demand on servers.
Depends, because the server has to know when you're moving a box, and it has to know who have access to what in your hangar. And it needs to move the hangars dynamically while you're asking for it.
How they explained it is it doesn't. So I would like permissions for you to be able to come into my hangar without me being there. That is not what they said it will happen, and I don't expect that to happen. Yeah. So just so it was clear, like maybe on what I was saying is, how they explained it is, maybe I did say that at the beginning but maybe it's a pipe dream, is they're going to deliver cargo to the freight elevator, and I will bring you to the freight elevator that is mine, that I bought everything from, and then you will take it to your hangar. And I can go there and help you, and then we can take the rest and take it to my hangar, and you can help me, but we're stuck doing it that way, which is like a really kind of crappy workaround, I think.
It also depends how, the question is also, is it the pilot that hangars you're moving into so you can take a friendship into your hangar, or is it the ship that determines which hangar you're flying into?
I would assume it's the ship that determines which hangar. But maybe if you're in the ship, you could
request permissions for landing.
Yeah. So that is the biggest question that I would love to have answered, and that is the question I will ask when we are able to pose questions about the cargo refactor. Is if I am in someone else's ship and I call the hangar from my Mobiglass, what hangar opens? And will that ship be allowed to fly into my hangar?
But is this a part of cargo refactor, and wasn't it what's called
persistent hangars?
Persistent hangars.
They were supposed to be together. It was very clear, and they said that they need each other. Yeah. But now, I don't know. This is a interesting thing that we don't have this. When one gets delayed but the other one doesn't, it starts to pose the questions: are CIG lying? Is the roadmap a sham? All the things that people start freaking out about because they communicate so poorly. If the persistent hangar, like, they need to know these things. If persistent hangars are dependent on, like, part of the cargo system refactor, why was one delayed and the other one wasn't? And they need to, when they delay that, say what happened.
This is the new plan.
Yeah, this is the new plan, just so you guys know. Yep.
Yeah, but I think they talked a lot. As far as I understand it, they just want it like we are used to right now.
Yeah.
The only difference is you're able to move, after it spawns, you're able to move it around inside your ship and move it to another player's ship, which will get interesting when you are both with the servers. Can it handle that many entities?
I mean, look at Jumptown. Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, but that isn't that many entities again.
It's quite a few boxes that are flying around.
Yeah, it is, but they also have the limit that if there's too many entities in this area, you're not able to drop anything.
Yeah.
So they still have some issues there where you're getting blocked from doing stuff if there's too many entities, and that's probably because the server can't handle the physics calculations. Or physics calculations is difficult with it.
Yeah, well, that's why I think when they said they need that snapping feature, it really needs to snap. So then once it's snapped, you don't really have to deal with the physical stuff, and you're only dealing with the physical, the physics calculations when you're moving one box at a time, and then it shouldn't be that much of an issue, right?
Yeah, then it shouldn't be that big of an issue if it's able to snap and turn kind of off the physics calculations.
Yeah. What do you want to see with the cargo refactor? What's more important to you? What you know? What do you need to see? What do you want for it? And how do you plan on playing the game? And how would it impact you?
I want to see the Aurora be able to actually move cargo in a meaningful way.
In a meaningful way. That's the important part. Seeing the Aurora move cargo, we're going to see that happen. It already can happen, but in a meaningful way. How would that work, Henrik? How would you do it in a meaningful way?
I want the cargo box underneath the physical boxes, so you're able to take it out and maybe put it into another player's ship.
Okay.
And actually use it for something like Jump Town, because right now it isn't useful for that.
Sure. I guess for me, the meaningful way would be the cargo missions, right? So you don't need a lot of SCU to maybe run a valuable mission, or, you know? And again, I think what's kind of cool about cargo and the way the cargo ships are built out is they all are in sort of like a category, like small, medium, and large, and you can create missions that all the cargo amounts can fit in those categories, and you can create missions that the profits may not be as, you know, the amount of the mission value may not be that high when you're just using an Aurora, but you earn your rep and you work your way up through that system to get to the medium cargo, and then to get to the high cargo would be it's like one of the way the ships are set up, it's one of the easiest to see progression systems for the game.
It is, and that also gives value to the smaller cargo ship instead of just the big ones.
Yeah, for sure. And
also, I think the big ones should use a lot more power when they're in atmosphere. A lot more fuel than they currently do. And
maybe
have to be.
Yeah, that's a weird one, because the shit, like some of the larger ships have come in game, like thinking about the MSR and running out of fuel super quick, and it's a.
But it doesn't need to run out of fuel. It just needs to have a larger fuel tank and
then cost
burn through more. Yeah.
The cost of it.
Then
Gotcha. Okay, yeah, that makes sense to me. And I think the MSR does, when thinking about the MSR, it's quite costly when you refill it, and probably the C2 as well, right? I just can't remember off the top of my head.
Yeah, but that is a whole new rebalancing of those ships, and probably the real capacity.
Sure.
I guess.
What do you
look at that?
What do you think about commodity trading? I'm going to ask this to everybody. What do you think about commodity trading? How it works now versus how it probably should work in the future? Should it be moving stuff back and forth a lot, or should it be more done digitally, as it kind of is done now, with like more people speculating? How should you see it?
I would like it to be moved around a lot. So maybe you are refining it one place, then you're loading it and flying to another station where the materials is more.
Sure. Well, in that case, I wouldn't consider it much commodity. It is commodity trading, but I mean more of the commodity trading in the sense that you are purchasing something in hopes to sell it for profit. That's a little different, because mining, you refine it. The costs of mining are the costs of mining, but the buy-in for a commodity, that's the kind of issue with the game right now, is people feel that the margins and the risk versus reward is just not there. So what would you do differently?
I think both can exist at the same time. One is that the station have a contract with another station.
Yes. So that would
need
be missions.
This many. Yeah, and that will be shown to you as a mission, because
Sure.
And the other thing is, you are speculating, you're buying stuff, having it in the cargo bay or the wherever on the station, and hope it either goes up and go down, or you need to move it from one place to another place to set it for a profit.
So basically, this cargo refactor can't fix that problem yet. This is a Tony Z problem.
Yeah, this is a Tony Z problem.
Yeah, for sure.
The thing I really see being profitable with cargo refactor is the orcs is able to buy from a lot of different places, maybe, and a lot of different places, and then put it all on one caterpillar and sell it all at the same time. So you can maybe take the whole moon, all them what's called all the outposts on the moon, buy your smaller ships there and fly it up and move it over.
Transfer it, and transfer it to the larger ship that ends up doing the final sale, which is cool. Yeah,
and also that will go into the mining as well.
Yeah,
you don't have to have like everyone can mine on their own, and then the org account goes on and everything is sold to the org, put on the org ship that's it.
Yeah, and I think that's something that maybe some people don't understand. So Henrik's referencing what we do for our org, which is I purchased an account with just an Aurora and named it after our org. Because of the way the current game works, where you can only buy and sell, and specifically for a mining org, you can only refine from a ship that you own. So in order for it to run smoothly, the issue here is that refining costs money, and refining takes time, and then the sale of the refined material can only come from a ship that you own. So it would be very complicated for an org that is trying to work together and make a bunch of money together to have everybody doing everything separately and be like, yeah, by the way, I made 300. By the way, I made 500K. By the way, I made 600K. And then it all be transferred somehow to an org. It's very complicated. So the way we do things is instead we send a bunch of people out mining, and then we have 3 prospectors that go out and scoop the material while the org account just sits at the commodity deck waiting for them to come and land, the refinery deck, waiting for them to come and land there, and then we start the refinery process on the org account, which has a C2, that when the refinery process is over, we fill up the C2 with the refined Quantanium and then go and sell it. So that's our workaround for the current problems with the system. And what Henrik references is, well, now you can just drop your filled prospector containers, and there you go. The question is how do you replace them? I don't know, but
I don't think you can drop it when the cargo refactor. I think we still have
they already said that. They already said that it is.
Oh, okay, nice.
Yes.
Then.
Yeah, so they'll be removable, and I just don't know about replaceable. Like, cause,
maybe you just store it and put it back out, and it's magically replaced.
Hopefully, because that's basically how it was said it would work. So when you remove one, another one just slides down. It's like a bag. It's a weird thing. So hopefully that'll be the case, but I don't know. Yeah, but they said that should work that way. But that was 6 months ago, so we'll see.
Also, pirates will be really effective. Pirate gameplay will be interesting now, actually.
Pirates are just going like this right now. Just I'm rubbing for you who can't see me. I'm rubbing my hands together with an evil smile.
Yeah,
that's what pirates are doing at the moment. They're very excited for this because what happens to pirates now is it's kind of sad. People don't feel that they're because the money doesn't matter, man. So they don't feel like anything's being risked. So
shoot to kill.
Yeah, now they can either shoot to kill and then pick up whatever the ship drops because it should drop larger containers, or they could board the ship and physically take the items off if the person doesn't want to pay any sort of ransom.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That will be interesting also that you can either, if they don't want to pay the ransom, you're taking all their stock and leaving them stranded.
Yeah, I just hope
I
just hope if they self-destruct that the pirate does gain some value from that, where the player may not just want their time wasted. Like, I kind of understand that. Like, hey man, I'm trying to play right now. Like, I'm just standing here and I don't want to pay you a ransom and I don't feel like dealing with you. So I don't think there is any risk to dying in the game right now, and I don't care if I lose the money, so I'm just going to backspace and continue on another server and play the game the way I want to. I'm sort of okay with that, as long as the pirate does gain from you backspacing. Like, it's also, if a player Alt F4s and logs out, same thing. Like, their stuff should just remain on a server to be exploited if you're trying to exploit.
definitely.
Yeah.
But I don't know who is responsible for that, but it really needs to be updated.
For sure. People are talking about like, hey, they need an org bank and things like that in the chat. I think we all agree on that. I just don't think that that is part of the cargo refactor. I just think that the cargo refactor is one of those steps to making orgs more of a viable feature of things that you can use. And I think these pieces of the puzzle have to come first before they start plugging an org system into the game. The game has to function like an actual game where players interact with each other and interact with things together before you could even think about doing that. It's sad that it's not, but I think it's just a natural reality to it as well.
Yeah.
So I don't know. Do you have anything else you want to add, Henrik, or
no?
Do you want to get back to developing our eco server?
Yeah, we may have to talk about versions there.
Yeah, that's going to be a huge problem. So I'm not excited for this conversation that we're going to have today.
Not a.
Yeah. So all right, bro. We'll let you go, and we'll talk later about that stuff. Talk to you later, Henrik.
Talk to you later.
Bye bye. All right, Qualms is next. Hello, Qualms. How are you?
Hey.
How's everything?
Hey. I'm good so far. So far, so good.
Yeah. So, what do you think about the whole cargo refactor thing?
I think it's. I'm a bit afraid about it. Might sound a bit crazy because they can both completely fuck it up, or it can be awesome.
Yes.
And it can take and break, and that's always dangerous with CIG, as we have seen in the past, right?
Yes. Yeah.
There's a couple of things. So the one thing I'm a bit excited about, if they get it in, is actually the to speak in their term, the physicalization of cargo. So basically, that right now cargo is just a number, and then there's some routine which sort of magically summons boxes in your ship. But actually being there physically, that is a huge step, and I think that's cool. I think that's a really, really cool step. But then there's the whole step where I'm a bit afraid about, and that is how do they deal with loading and unloading and managing it in your vessel. And this as we had the discussion before and during while you were watching the SCL, is they can completely make that bonkers. And a couple of things that come in is, and that's what I fear a bit, is they have to find a good way to make it worthwhile, because I think it's important. I think it's important that cargo not suddenly shows up in your ship, especially like if you fly to an outpost, and that's where they have the raft now. And I think the raft is a cool ship. So basically, you go there, you have the possibility to drop your cargo container. It can be moved away, and you can basically preload it or pre-order it with the stuff you want to take away, and you snap it in. But if you come with a freelancer, you have to get the stuff out and have to get the stuff in. The point is the
raft is the most easy to understand cargo ship, because it is so similar to the way cargo works today.
Yeah.
Somebody else that you never saw loaded up this container with things. Somebody loaded that up. It wasn't you, the cargo runner. And you pick that thing up and you leave. With the other ships, you are the cargo container. It's kind of a weird thing. So you're the one doing the physical loading, and it's an odd experience.
Yeah, it's a bit. If you look at logistics in real life, it's a bit like, okay, you have the second stage delivery on land. You know, if it comes off a ship or off a train and then goes onto lorries and it's transported, and usually you split the cargo up. And this brings another interesting thing in it. That was to revamp the trolley discussion really quickly, especially what I meant when I was talking about, putting the stuff together. It's more like if you order something bigger these days, a bigger batch of things, you usually get them pre-packed in pallets.
Yeah.
So the whole idea, what basically
we can't be
Jared
the ones packing it.
Exactly, and only if that is what you do. If you say, okay, I have in my hangar 5,000 boxes of medicine, and you say, all right, I have to deliver 1,000 boxes to output A, 1,000 boxes to output B, blah blah blah. And you stand in your hangar and you say, all right, there's a pallet. I move the stuff around. It's packed on pallets. I move those pallets into my freelancer, and I go to the various outposts, and I know in which order I fly to them. So I take what they want out of it and places them. That's where it makes sense.
That's cargo gameplay to me. That is cargo gameplay to a T to me. That's not how I was reading the responses in the chat. We had a huge argument about pallets before the show, guys, by the way.
Okay, I want to jump in the show, so that's I was a late comer to your argument. This is this is not what Jared said, and I really hope that Jared is wrong, because the whole idea that there's a cargo elevator and I have to unpack every single unit. Just imagine. It's just the numbers. Okay, just imagine.
Can we pause you? So if anybody's watching that didn't catch what we watched, like we watched the SCL before, they started talking about cargo and the loading and unloading of ships. And then Jared just jumps in and says, see, guys, we told you trolleys were useful. See? And like, I immediately go, what are you talking about, dude? How can trolleys be useful if we have a magical tractor beam that can move an item from one place all like really far away to immediately inside your ship? It negates the need for a trolley altogether. Most people at places like Jumptown are literally like, you're loading cargo to a constellation through the little hole in the side, right? You're loading cargo in a cutlass through the side. You're not using the ramp in the back. So it was like one of the most like obvious situations where it's like, yeah, you don't play this game very much. Like, what are you talking about? And then, so now go ahead, Qualms, just to kind of catch people up with that conversation. I was like, if we have a tractor beam, and this is the least strong tractor beam, there's going to be a giant handheld one, a ship-based tractor beam. There's going to be all these situations where the weight and the amount of things that we can carry is going to be so much higher. I never see the point of a trolley, nearly ever. But
again, for the application of transporting these kind of cargoes around, I mean, as we said before, having a trolley with somebody lying on it or stuff, there's side effects where it might be sensible, but not for the cargo logistics part. And that's the part where I fear it. That they basically say, but this new cargo refactor, and there has to be gameplay, and there's so many problems because it will be a stretch on the server load and the database access and the entity graph and everything. And like they say, let's you get the cargo elevator and then transport it out. Another thing about the cargo elevator, and that reminds me of an ATC where we had a chat. It must have been at least a year ago. It was right after the cargo deck came out, where we're basically like, okay, what are they good for, those cargo decks?
Yeah.
And I wonder, seriously, and this is where real world logistic comes in and ports and everything, and I deal with them on a professional basis regularly. This is where that stuff comes in. So I would expect that if I deal with cargo in a cargo deck, and it should be in a cargo deck, this stuff is stored, I dock my ship there. I go to the cargo deck. So my hangar is, yes, I can store stuff in my hangar. I might have a cargo area in my hangar where I can actually store stuff a little bit, but I still think, man, why have we have this cargo decks? Why can't I rent cargo space there? Why can't I basically dock my ship there? And what about something like a hull C or hull A or hull B in atmosphere or in space or in a raft in space? I dock at one of the cargo deck docking ports, and then I get my cargo in, and I get however placed to me the containers I need to attach and everything. This is the part where I think where fun for me comes in, where docking comes in, where the cargo decks stop being just ridiculous, nice artwork, and get some real functionality and something that is happening like this in real world, and things that happen sometimes. Things that happen in the real world in a certain way is because they work. And I always can accept that at some points it's a game and you don't want to overstretch something. You don't want to make everything. So you do some magic there. It's absolutely perfect. But what I always have hard time accepting is a game making something that in a way that with the same amount of game time effort could be done how it makes sense. I hope that sentence made sense now.
Some of it to me. I just looked at cargo decks. Like, I love the idea of renting a hangar and using that as space for cargo, and then the possibility of reputation and missions coming from there and all these things. But they've just sat there, and now it's just a place to buy tractor beams.
Yep.
And a backpack.
And yeah, exactly. The backpack's important as well. Yeah. The other thing is what I touched on, what you touched on as well, and is the whole cargo refactor is worth almost nothing. It was almost nothing because if they physicalize cargo, that's a huge step. But we have to have cargo missions.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. It just, the fact that we don't have them yet is, it just blows my mind about what the priorities are and what aren't. I don't know what is preventing those things from happening, but it just seems like they should have been a thing so long ago, and for some reason they're just not, and I don't understand, and Yeah,
and it would make the whole. I love cargo, trading, all this stuff in any kind of game. It's always something. I'm not a pure guy who's only doing that. I have friends who jump into it and who actually do sort of a cargo gameplay loop, if you want to call it, with the auction house and WoW.
Sure.
But I still like this. I like the idea that after a working day. Coming back from the office, and you just sit down and say, hey, wait, let's look how many cargo missions are available where I'm currently sitting at, and then just relax for
it's so
for
satisfying.
A couple of hours. Yeah.
It's so satisfying. And then I think if you bring in the commodity side of it, it starts to become a little bit more like you start with the missions, and then you go into the commodity side of where you have to start speculating and thinking and using your knowledge about the game a little bit more, where the missions are, they're pretty boring in a way, or like mindless. Not boring, but mindless. Obviously you might want to figure out the logistics of, all right, I took this many cargo missions, I'm picking up cargo from here, what's the best way to do it? You could do that kind of stuff. But I think when it comes down to it, those are just essential. And for me, if you can't do them for the cargo refactor, you got to talk to us and tell us why, and then get those prioritized as soon as possible. There's just so many people that want so many different things out of this game, and I just think that that's one of the more obvious ones that we for some reason just don't have.
Yep, and this comes in where I would. With the paletting stuff, which I don't think should be that much of a problem when I look at the way how they manage their entities, is that's where they can have fun on a small level already. Mm-hmm. We talked about I don't see why this should be a problem. The thing that all of us did up to a certain point when they were still working with the box missions. You say, okay, I have these boxes, I go from there to there, and this is just over there, and you take 3 box missions and you jump around, and they sort of chain at each other, and then in the end you suddenly have 3 boxes you give somewhere, and and you could easily and really cool do this with the cargo missions, especially for the main planets stations. The one like Everus Harbor and Bangini and all of them, which are distribution hubs. Where you can say, all right, I have cargo missions. I have 3 cargo missions to Lyria, and say, okay, these outposts, and then you can see, okay, what do these outposts want to get back to the station, and then you get all this cargo, and then you think about how you put that in your freelancer or in your raft, or how you deal with the blocks, and that you are quick, and then you go there and then you unload them, and then they get off and they get the next one on, and maybe at some point you have to unload something to get to the thing that you have to drop. There's a lot of things that where I think a lot of fun can go in, as long as, and I don't think that's too complicated as well.
No.
I mean, it's always dangerous, I think, to say something like this, but I don't see that being super complicated. And then if you just turn it one more is if they then take Jared's idea, the whole thing just flies out of the window. Because if I have to do it box by box and stuff by stuff, it's a good idea on the basis it's destroyed by some really strange mechanics. And I'm a big fan of the tractor beams. I think they are a good way. They are sci-fi like. It's something Chris Roberts had in all of his games, so it's nothing new to him. Yep. And it's sort of it eases a bit of and makes it feeling a bit like that. I know a lot of people think, oh, magic wands and carry stuff. I think it's a good idea.
I just think when you magic wand everything, it's problematic. But tractor beams make sense. Like the mining beam and the tractor beam and the healing beam and the what's next. Like it's gotta chill. But tractor beams are the ones that make sense to me the most.
The mining beams, the mining lasers is actually something that I guess we will see in reality a lot earlier before any of the other technologies, because they're actually working on it, at least for cutting the stuff down. This is not so far away.
Yeah, that's true.
But the healing stuff is something where I thought, like, on the other hand, if you imagine the complexity you need to do if you don't do it via at least a short-range beam, I don't know. I mean, this is a different topic, but
it's not that complex. Literally every game has different types of meds to apply to a player. It's no.
Yeah. It's just I haven't thought this through. So this is because I thought before our conversation I thought about cargo.
That one's like they're even doing it in the game now. The with the different pens, like
the med pens are already like this. At least touching.
Exactly. But I don't know if there's anything else you want to add. I think just for me the missions are the most important, and I would rather see the cargo system refactor be delayed than be brought without missions, because I just don't see it changing what the player does day in and day out as much without having the mission be a factor in that. But
I would add.
Maybe people are going to get mad.
I would also add if they don't have anything any good way to handle the cargo, which is not putting it on trolleys, they should only put it half in. Maybe it's physical when it's in your ship, and if it gets destroyed, you can put it in or whatever. Mm-hmm. But don't make us unload box by box out of our ships. That would be sorry.
Well, I mean, they do mention cargo timers, so it looks like that there's the possibility of you have the option to not do that if you do not want to, but maybe you would make less profit.
Yeah. On the other hand, but I would like to do at least part. Yeah, I think there's a situation where it's okay. You go in and you do because you have other stuff to do. But at the moment, the automatic part is not so interesting for me because there's nothing else to do. I mean, this automatic is interesting. Mm-hmm. With a cargo timer, you dock your whatever dollar cargo vessel to the cargo deck, and then you have to do thousands of other things. Whatever. Check your armory. I don't know. There's nothing to do. But at the moment, what else is there to do on a station that can't be done in in 2 minutes. And if you have a 12 minutes cargo timer, I rather would spend the time loading the vessel myself. I mean, maybe I need to go to the loo or something. Okay, in that case, well, okay, let's do it automatically because I'm AFK. But again, the biggest danger, and that is where we agree upon, I guess, is they can wreck a lot of things because they put something in half baked. And I hope they don't. I'm far more lenient to them pushing it out and say, look, it's not fully working as we intended. As long as they tell us, look, guys, it just doesn't make fun because you don't just say, oh yeah, it's not polished enough. I mean, could be a bit more. I hope they're a bit more vocal about where the problem is.
Yes.
But please don't put something in half baked. That just annoys. Yeah.
Agreed. So I don't know. I guess we'll probably leave it there. And Qualms, as always, I always enjoy your calls. I think we have a nice back and forth, even though we may not agree on everything. I think we always have a calm and good discussion. So thank you.
Yeah. If we would agree on everything, that would be a pretty boring discussion, wouldn't it?
Hell yeah. Of course.
Mike, nice talking to you.
Nice
See you
talking
next time.
to you. Be safe. Bye-bye.
You too.
All right, and our final caller is a content creator. So we've been watching his videos quite a bit lately, and it's Astro Chronicles. So if you haven't seen, he makes like the imagined versions of a lot of ships and plays around with their interiors and stuff. So, Astro, are you there? Welcome. I see you're muted. Hello. Testing. Astro.
Hello.
Hello, I hear you.
Oh, good. How are you, mate?
Good. How are you?
Good. I just had to pause the stream.
okay.
Sorry about my voice. I'm a little bit under the weather. Got sick. No COVID this time, but not the best.
Okay. Yeah. Being sick sucks regardless.
That is correct. Well, you can spend more time creating funny things and living in a dreamland of sci-fi.
For sure.
Well, thank you very much for having me. With regards to the subject you're discussing today, I'm afraid of it.
Okay.
And there's several reasons. First of all, the simple one is there's not really any penalty for being bad. So if you really want to have a kind of life experience of being a trade or hauler, whatever, there is still sadly lots of people who just go into the game and they break the game. And after like 5 hours of playing Star Citizen, they're just saying, yeah, whatever, now I'm just going to start shooting everyone.
Yeah.
Kind of ruining the game for the rest of us. And as sadly as I said, there's no penalty. They go to prison for 12 hours, they wake up next day, they're out of prison. So that's something what I'm afraid, that it will be happening a lot, that the piracy will still be basically trolling or griefing or whatever other words people want to use. But
maybe.
just
I think that there's other pirate groups that do it legitimately. I think most people just
100%.
blow other people up, but sure, I see your point of view.
100%. But just to echoing a little bit what you said before, I think there's going to be a huge distinction between a commodity trading and cargo hauling. They look like they're similar, but they're different. I still see the commodity trading as basically you buying something and you selling something. You're finding the best price to buy it, and you're finding the best location to sell it for the maximum profit.
Agreed.
When it comes to cargo hauling, I see this as you refer to it as missions. You're getting a fixed price to deliver something from A to B. You're transferring goods. If you think about any kind of truck hauler in whether it's a US or Europe or wherever, just because you're hauling a truck full of flat screen TVs doesn't mean you bought those. You're just transferring this for somebody. And then the reputation with that, of course, would be really good, because the distances, the further you transfer something, you can get more money. If you'll be transferring something into a more dangerous areas, you can get more money. Mm-hmm. So that would be something really, really good. So I see this split happening. That you will see a lot of people who will say, I'm a trader. Are following the prices, are following the stock market, if you will, and some people will be like, "Hey, I'm a
cargo hauler."
Yeah, and the thing is, this, as I said, I mean, as a whole game, everything should be time versus profit, time times risk.
Yes.
Times versus risk times profit. And the thing is, we don't want, when it comes to the economy of the whole game, you never want to end up that there will be only one profession that makes millions and everyone else is basically a peasant.
Which is the state that we're in now, unfortunately.
Kind of, yeah. But the thing is, the top-level top-level hauler should make the same amount of money as the top-level bounty hunter or top-level miner. And if there is a possibility of them to kind of interact between, so one cannot live without the other, that basically what creates the balance economy. So it will be all equal, whether you're mining, trading, cargo, bountying, or whether you do medical. If you're on top of your profession, the time versus spend versus how much money or AUSC you make, it should be kind of more or less equal. So you never, as I said, you never want to have this one role that basically makes millions and other ones are basically just nothing.
Thousands,
scraping the bottom.
I think I agree with your point. I think as long as it's not completely balanced, because obviously I would think bounty hunting would come with a much higher risk. The whole thing, one of the biggest problems that we have with the game currently is there is still, like, they tried to say that 3.15 was the patch of consequence, right? When you died, there would be consequence. There's not, right? So people are still backspacing because they need to, because the game is buggy, or they're backspacing because they don't want to be pirated, or they'll Alt F4 or whatever. There's no consequence for death now, and I think that's one of the biggest problems with the amount of money a bounty hunter might make, or a PvP scenario or whatever, right? Is if there's no risk to death, that takes the whole side of, well, I'm a hauler and my job is less dangerous than your job, so I make less profit in your formula that you put out there, right? I may make less money, but at least I'm not risking myself all the time, where you are. That's the kind of problem here. That's one of the things that's missing to the whole equation.
But as you said, there is no risk to death, but I'm gonna put it the same way. There is no any risk or consequences for killing somebody.
So it's there are, but they're not.
Not as It's like you're gonna get your crime stat that you can go mine
no permanent
2 hard a night
reputation
and you're
yet.
out. Exactly, and a permanent reputation. Anything that comes to kind of any level of permanency would definitely improve the game, because I mean, as always, people saying, oh well, the when question, when Star Citizen will be released, when but for me, this question would be, and this kind of tractor is like, when I will not lose my progress. For me, that moment is when the Star Citizen is being released. So when I will know that wherever I'm putting in my time, my skill, my effort, it will remain within the game.
Yeah.
And I think it's still way too early for all of this, wherever it's happening in the game.
I agree. The only when questions we should ask are, when are the things that I'm interested in going to be enjoyable enough in the game to where I would want to do them consistently? And for some people, those elements already exist. For me, the game is not in a place where I feel that the things that I would enjoy in the game are in a place where I can play them day in and day out. And those things would be cargo. Those things would be mining, logistics, buying and selling, and then even FPS mechanics or ship combat mechanics. I mean, I think I'm going to do a bit more. Like, I want to have a much wider range of things that I enjoy. I don't think I'll be doing the same thing every day. But yeah, I think I agree with you. I think, but the game would be released based on your definition then, but the amount of fun and enjoyment we can get out of the game doesn't require it to be quote unquote released either. It has to start there. They have to get to a place where it's fun and enjoyable and people want it to be released in the state that it's in. And we have to start getting there soon, or we are not just years, we're 5 years away from starting the economy and not resetting it. Maybe more.
100%.
100%. And we have to start focusing on what's important. And I think they are, which is why they're going to Squadron 42 and not focusing on the PU right now. Is they want to get that out so they can focus on what's important sooner. But they should have done this a long fucking time ago, if you ask me.
Well, one more thing about the cargo, physicalized cargo, whatever. I think the Jumptown 2.0 is literally the example of how it will look.
Yeah,
the cargo will be there. You can take from somebody. You can take it wherever you want, and you can do whatever you want with it.
Mm-hmm.
The only thing that I think it will change is because now if you will take somebody else's cargo, or if you take as cargo being spawned on the jump down itself, who is the owner of the cargo? That's the basic question. And now basically it's defined whoever is the owner of the ship is the thing, which I think when we're gonna get our hangars, it's like wherever you land in your hangar and wherever would be in your hangar, even inside stolen ship, but in your hangar should be yours. And whether you land in the legal zones or whether you land in Grimex or anything else less legitimate, wherever it's in your hangar, it's yours, and then you'll be able to sell it. Which actually, I this is something I'm looking forward to because. Even when you think about all the missions, like let's say you're a pirate and you got the mission that you're reclaiming some mining sectors or whatever, and you're killing those whatever, you destroying like dozens and dozens of prospectors. And something like this shouldn't be happening in this game. It's like if the prospector goes for 1 million a pop, or you have to spend like 2 million to buy one, why would you just, as a pirate, flying around destroying 50 different prospectors for payout of 30k?
Yeah, when you should be disabling it, taking it apart, or selling it.
Exactly, and the same is going to be with all the ships. I think the explosion of the ship, it should be something that you really push for. You really shoot a lot for a ship to explode. Most of the stuff you should be disabling and doing it. I think if you like pew pew and you like the effects, great. That you got the arena commander for that. But I think in a real world, if you think about it, if you would start to rob somebody, why would you explode somebody's truck when you can steal somebody's truck as well, and have it, and then put it for scrape or whatever?
Yeah, but not. I don't think it's. One thing I don't think is fair is if you like pew pew, go to arena commander because.
Oh no.
You like pew pew.
What I mean is,
but you like it because the consequence that happens to the other person is satisfying to you, and that people I've seen like call that like psycho behavior and all these things. If you've ever played video games, like many people get satisfaction from those things, and it is what it is. If you don't, I don't think putting them down is appropriate. And I'm not saying that's what you're doing. I'm not
as long as
talking about you, Astro. On that.
No. But as long as the consequences are there. So if you're a maniac that you're flying around and you're shooting everyone and you're exploding everyone, and the consequences will be there that as soon as you appear in Stanton, you're gonna have 3 hammerheads on your back from security or wherever. Mm-hmm. I'm happy with that. The problem is there's no consequences. So people literally can go. As I said, there's no penalty for dying, and there's no really any penalty for killing.
Yeah, the hacking your crime stat down and instantly having that reputation disappear is quite problematic. I think you should have to build, like, you should get to a point where if this is all you do, you should only be allowed to land in, non-UEE areas and things like that. And maybe that's why Pyro is so important. Maybe that's why.
Hopefully.
I tend to look at Pyro and be like, it's just another system, but maybe that is the start of actual permanent reputation for players that are causing havoc to lawful players in the game. Mm-hmm. Is currently there's really no consequence to the actions that they have. Yeah, that's interesting. Yeah. I honestly never looked at it that way. So, what doesn't it doesn't really have anything to do with the cargo refactor necessarily, but it is a really good point. It does in the way you're explaining it, obviously, but
it's a long-term, as you say, reputation, because everyone's saying, if there's gonna be a Pyro and you're the blue player, and you're gonna go to the Pyro, you're gonna have to deal with the consequences. Anyone can shoot you down, whatever. But it should be all the way around. If you're from Pyro and you're coming to Stanton, it shouldn't be just like, you just came here and you same. No. You should have even more consequences. UE should be on your back constantly. Well, if you decide to come from Pyro to Stanton, let's say.
Maybe, but I think it's more if you have built a reputation up in Stanton for being a bad player, that's when the
Yeah,
consequence should
reputation.
happen. If you just decide, hey, I want to check out Pyro and this is where my spawn is going to be, I don't think you should instantly have hammerheads on you because you came from Pyro.
Then you come to all kind of, it's a prejudice against you. Where are you from? Oh, I'm from Pyro. Ooh, arrest him. Yeah. You know what I mean? We go back to all the kinds of problems we have in the world now.
Sure.
And one more comment, because I'm just looking on my notes. When it comes to physicalized cargo and loading and unloading trolleys, well, I'm not gonna comment much on trolleys. To be honest, even if the trolleys will be something that you use to load, I still never managed to put any trolley on my ship. The trolley just doesn't go up to any angle up. If you want to try to put it on a ship, it just doesn't work. Yeah. And the tractor beams, I think, is way to go. Even the caterpillar, the whole wing on the caterpillar is basically a tractor beam station for loading and unloading. So yeah, that should be the way to go.
Agreed. Yeah, I mean, I'm just responding to a few people in chat about the like they were saying, we should be able to hack down our criminal status and things like that, and it's just like, well, your actions should represent your reputation exclusively, and hacking should allow you access to certain places and other things. Like maybe you can hack into an area and avoid your reputation for a short period of time, but your reputation should always precede you, and your actions thereafter should be able to change your reputation. So if you've done a lot of murdering or whatever and you end up having a bad rep, you should have the option to start changing your ways and change your reputation to good in the future if you wanted to. This game is meant to be played for a long time. It's an MMO. It's not a 2-hour experience, and that's not what it's meant to be.
Yeah. I mean, I'm just reading the chat as well. I agree with that. And even, it's like, if you really want to have the hacking in, I think they should, if you have a top level, let's say criminal top level, you could level 5 or whatever criminal crime stat. It shouldn't be as easy as it is now. Landing or parking underneath the landing pad and then just sticking one chip in and you're out. I think there should be something a little bit more involved for you to kind of get your stat back to zero.
For sure. I agree. And how about this? Since we're just on the topic of reputation, how should cargo reputation work? And we'll end it here with that question.
I would say it's the same as the real life. So if you give me cargo to carry, if I'm your courier, you entrusting me with deliver something undamaged, on time, and basically deliver it. So if I would take a mission level
multiple
1,
factors.
and I would, exactly, and if I would take a mission 1, I can call my pirate friend and say, hey guys, rob me because I'm carrying this. But then my reputation will go to -1, that I won't be able to do cargo hauling because basically I'm just the dodgy guy who pretends to lose package. Now, as I said, it's also the time. So different ships, different speeds, different loads. It could be that you have to move 10 shipping containers from A to B. So you have to make 3 or 4 round trips. No problem with that. But then you have a limited time to do it. And then if you can do it within a certain time, when you're a good pilot, congratulations. And then also the damage, how you fly, how you land. If you get attacked, can you defend yourself? So basically you're building trust with the cargo company. That's how I see it.
Sure. Now, how would you progress through that? Like, okay, so we've decided the factors that would determine your rep, but what would the next, like let's look at bounties right now. Bounties, all they do is provide you with more difficult missions and allow you to make more money because they trust that you're combat capable. How would cargo missions work?
Yeah.
Would they ask you to move more, or would they
I would say
ask you to move more valuable, right?
Yeah. So maybe valuable doesn't really matter because in the end you should don't ask questions what you're hauling. You just have to take it from A to B. What's in the containers doesn't matter. But yes, they might entrust you with more valuable things. Maybe longer distances. Or something could be from a space station to the planet. You still need this kind of thing.
Yep.
And maybe
points.
Exactly. Maybe you're gonna have to grind a little bit of a station to surface cargo before they're gonna tell you, oh, can you take this one from let's say ArcCorp to Microtech? And then yes, you're spending more time. You're spending more time traveling. It should be something else that maybe mini games, you're checking on your cargo. You're not just sitting there in a quantum for 5 minutes doing nothing. There could be other kind of things added in the game. But yeah, more cargo to move, shorter times, more valuable cargo to move, and longer distances. And to be honest, you can role play this very well. You can be this kind of law-abiding citizen that you're going from the little reputation to the high reputation when you're actually moving something really, really important. And then you say to your pirate friends, say, hey guys, I got this really, really big cargo, kidnap me.
Yeah.
And then the profit is there, but then you're spending a lot of time building this reputation. But again, you can role play this very, very well, that you spend, let's say, 2-3 weeks grinding to get this kind of multi-million AUEC cargo, and then you're deciding to basically, play the reverse card and just say ha ha ha, and then you're getting the profit, and then you manage to sell it in Grimex or in Pyro or wherever. But yeah, it's a possibility. Yes, your reputation would go low with that. Then you can rebuild it again. But that's the game. That's the circle of life.
For sure. That's the other thing. If I mentioned before that there were some things that are absolutely required that need to be in this cargo refactor when it comes in. If reputation is not part of this, what are we doing? On day one, it needs to have a proper rep system that builds you from one place to the next. And I think if you decide that you want to be a cargo hauler in the game, if we don't have missions, whenever missions do come in, they need to be completely tied into the rep system.
True, but isn't that already done when it comes to the delivery
deliveries?
Boxes?
A little bit. I don't think it's as fleshed out as it should be.
Well, it's not. Because the thing is, as you said, as long as you're gonna just get more boxes for more price to deliver. Yeah, they have to be different sizes, different times, different priorities, different distances.
Yeah, well, and then it can be volatile cargo. You can the non-quantum cargo. You could just keep going, right?
You can just keep going for that. Yeah.
Are very
100%. But so the possibilities are there, and as I'm thinking, wherever we have a game, wherever we have in a game now, when it comes to kind of how strategically the progression of the reputation is and the missions and how it's coded now, they can definitely build on top of that. There is nothing that they have to reinvent here, apart from physicalized cargo, which actually is now because as we said in the Jumptown 2.0, you have a physicalized cargo.
Yeah, I mean, those small boxes have always been physicalized. Now it's physicalizing commodity cargo, basically, more than what they've done before.
So we'll see. But the thing is, I don't know how much time you have, but there's one more thing I wanted to mention that you were saying before. Is like, what is the good percentage when you
yes, for commodity trading.
Trader. And if you do commodity trading, what is the good percentage? And it could be 10%, it could be 20%. Well,
sure.
As I said, the more knowledge you have, the more you're watching the prices in game, you can make the better choices of that. But the question I have for you is like, do you think the person who, so for example, there shouldn't be unlimited commodities all the time, that you can't just load Caterpillar with Lara Knight constantly, go back and forth. There should be some kind of a limitation to economy. So the bigger ship you have, you should start trading in the less valuable commodities that would allow you to match the profit. So do you think it would be fair if I have a Cutlass and you have a Caterpillar, and I load it with Lara Knight, because there is only, let's say, I don't know, what's the Cutlass, like 40 boxes or 38 or 50 or whatever?
46 SC,
yeah, 46 Caterpillar full of Lara Knight, and then you're gonna load your Caterpillar full of scrap or whatever, and we both made a profit of, let's say, 10,000 after a trip. Do you think that's fair?
It could be considered fair if you look at the run costs of what a Caterpillar should be versus your ship, but we don't have those in game. So maybe
the fuel and things,
and then there's fuel. There should be crew on your Caterpillar versus your one single-seater ship, right? Well, technically the Cutlass is too, but that's how I look at that maybe. But those things need to be implemented in the game too, and Multi-crew just
because
isn't.
because I would see this as because people would say, so what's the point of Caterpillar if you can only manage to have let's say this, if you're making the same money as Cutlass, what's the point of flying Caterpillar? The thing is,
well, that's
I was
not how
thinking
it should
that
work. The reason to use a larger ship and to carry more things is to make more money. You might have to risk more money to make more money, but
correct.
Why do we have larger cargo ships that move things in over the ocean? It's less trips, right? Same, more stuff, 100%. Less trips.
Yeah, and that's the way that is gonna go with when it comes to the cargo hauling. But when it comes to commodity trading, I was thinking like the larger ships, which would deal in the cheaper, let's call the products. Those products will be much more available and always ready to be purchased everywhere. Exactly. So with Laranite and your Cutlass, you might only, instead of 46, you might load 40, and then if you want to sell it, you might only sell it 35 or something like that. That would be the thing that the bigger ships would have it easier.
Well, what's funny, Astro, is that's exactly how it works right now. And it feels fucking broken now. So the whole thing is like Laranite isn't readily available because a bunch of people with C2s went around and purchased all of it, and now it's hard to find more than I would say it's very hard to find more than 40 SCU of Laranite, right? But I don't see people going out there because the profit is the same regardless of what ship you use. I still don't see people going out there, and they are cargo trading the smaller things. But the idea of those smaller margin items, but they have a larger quantity, you can find... I'm trying to think of how to say this, is I feel like the whole idea of commodity trading is so hinged on quantum and the idea of I see a trend that I want to take advantage of. There are no trends in the game currently. There are only absolutes, and the numbers change very slightly for the cargo each week or day or time period. So there's very little trending that happens now. Everybody knows where to go, and everybody knows what to buy and sell when it comes to cargo.
I agree. I think and it's the same with mining. It's like you only mine Quantanium because everything else is useless.
Exactly.
And the same as you're trying to do trading, you only try to trade to Laranite or something really expensive. Otherwise, you feel like you. So I wouldn't say it's useless, but you feel like you waste time because you would say, why would I spend half an hour looking for high-rich aluminium asteroid when I can do Quantanium?
Yeah.
And the thing is, I think that the prices are not, first of all, not dynamic enough. Correct. And the second thing is, they shouldn't be something as expensive as Quantanium. Everything from asteroids, it should be, I would say, priced, let's say, between 20 and 30.
The craziest thing
21, 20. You can't have 5 and 88.
The craziest thing is, no, you can have 5 and 88. But the weirdest thing is that Quantanium is 88, but when you refuel your ship, it's 200 credits.
That is correct. That is correct as well. The price of the refueling it's also
it's so weird.
Yeah. I'm not saying that the creating economy is easy, but currently because of those huge gaps in prices, I think it's the problem that the economy doesn't work, and you're only going for either trading Laranite or mining Quantanium. Those are two gameplays. Nobody, as I said, mine aluminium. And it could be even said the same when it comes to the rock mining or hand mining. Everyone goes for Hadanite. Nobody interested in the Dolovine or the other one that nobody knows how to pronounce.
Because the items, and this has been my preaching moment every week, every show I ever do, is because the items in the game have no purpose. And one of these days, Tony Z is going to have to implement something in the game, and I cannot deal with another Tony Z demo without an actual functioning piece of the pie working. And I'm going to have to. I accept it. But it's slowly crippling my motivation for the game, because it is very exciting to see, okay, all of the items in the world now have facilities that they are processed in. And once you start seeing what a facility processes and how much they want that item, you start determining what you're going to go out and start looking for. And then the developers of the game start going, well, guess what? In these regions of Daymar are where you'll start, like these biomes of these moons are where you'll start finding these materials in more abundancy. And then you start talking about an actual video game. And it all is hinged on this dude that has been showing us demos for 5 years, man. And I can't wait anymore. I'm starting to become incredibly impatient. And this is where it's another fucking thing that server meshing is holding back. I can't take it because we all know that meshing ties into this. We all know meshing is what is streaming things in and out and what decides. Everything is hinged on this crap that I can't deal with anymore. And it is driving me insane. Because we can fill in the gaps for now, and we can make it a little bit more fun. But what it really needs is the taking Dolovine, which is the most frustrating thing in the world to mine, and tell me what it's used for and why I would sell it.
That's exactly my comment. So just one quick answer to a little bit of madness guy in the chat who was talking about the cargo running weapons, armors. Yes, this could be like at a very, very top level thing. But if you have a reputation of 10 plus, then you're starting to cargo run weapons, and then you can,
Oh, dude, I totally disagree. Hold on, let's stop there for a second. Okay. Cargo running weapons, armor, ship components, mining lasers, fuel, ammo, guns, player armor, all these things that you as a group of players that you play with would use is something that is not a high level thing, is not something that you should need to build reputation with. That is where cargo hauling is tied into multi-crew and playing with your friends. That's where we are all hanging out in these areas, and this is what CIG I think actually does quite well, and people might find it tedious and shitty now, but it's one of the things that I thought was felt the most gamey and felt right to me, is that when I was setting up for Jumptown, I had to search where things were sold, and I flew around the verse, and I picked up all my items, I put them in the local inventory of my spaceship, just like I would be if I was cargo running them, and I brought them to the location at which I was going to spend my time, and I geared up for an event that I knew was coming. That
I watched you. I watched you doing that.
That is cargo hauling for players that now, and that was pretty cool.
You developed T0 of cargo hauling. At the same, I was laughing that I'm gonna just buy all the tractor beams and sell them on for 10,000 AUEC on the Jumptown. If somebody wants to buy,
exactly.
But just to coming back to something before we switch to this. I agree with you. Now, for example, they say you'll be able to use Starfarer to produce the fuel. And I would say, okay, so what you need? You need Quantanium. Fine. Why don't you need a Quantanium and Dolovine? Quantanium and Dolovine, that's what makes Quantanium fuel.
Yeah.
And straight away, you're changing the whole economy. Of course, if you, and let's say bump up the prices for fuel 10x, 20x even now, and you will be fine. So you make fuel a really good, valuable commodity, and you need Quantanium and you need Dolovine. And you'll be surprising how many people will actually start flying around and mining Dolovine because they want to create fuel to sell it. And it's not that difficult, because if they say you need Quantanium to make fuel, I'm sure they can say you need 2 ingredients to make a fuel.
Yeah.
Okay, enough ranting. It's Sunday. It should be a peaceful day.
Yeah, it's true. But no, I just I think there's so many things that can be improved through the cargo system, and I hope they don't just do it. Like, if I see 318's trailer and it's like cargo, refactor, epic, all these changes, and all they did was physicalize the items, I'm going to be pretty upset. And I'll probably end up being pretty upset, but
I just hope that
I hold these guys to a higher standard, and I think they should start holding themselves to the standard that they've created, that we have in our heads that they've created for themselves. So, yeah.
Yeah, I just hope that the physicalized cargo, the not the large containers, not the smaller container, but the normal one, the SCU, we're gonna have some kind of grid magnetic locking rather than just throwing a bunch of boxes into your caterpillar and just somehow you can stack them better or something.
Sure.
But yeah, that's all from my side. Thank you very much, Mike.
Thank you.
Stay salty, as we know. Little bit of salt gives extra flavor to everything. So thank you very much for what you're doing, and thank you
as
very
long
much
as it's
for
a
your
little
channel.
bit and not too much. I think I'm sometimes a little too much.
Well, it's not healthy, they say, but
it's true.
So there's lots of us. There is
high
more
blood
and more
pressure.
viewers. There is more and more viewers now, so you need more and more salt. So it's a little bit for everyone.
Interesting. All right. Well, Astro, be good, buddy.
Thank you very much.
Enjoy
and
your
have a
videos,
good,
man.
Next week.
Yeah, man. Bye-bye.
Oh yeah, I won't be plugging my video now. Don't worry. I learned my lesson when you told me not to. So yeah, no plugs this time.
I'll give the YouTube people that don't understand what that may mean. It's like a common thing to not plug stuff on Twitch, because it's just a weird thing. So I must have explained it to you one time. I don't even remember doing that.
Yeah, which technically I think I just subliminally plugged my channel.
It's okay. I plugged it before you did, so it's
yes,
totally
you did.
fine.
Yeah,
I'm gonna put a link in the description. Okay. All right, guys.
Yeah,
we'll see you later.
Thank you very much. Yeah,
no
have
problem.
a good one. Bye.
Bye-bye. All right, guys. That is how large will the cargo refactor? How will it impact? How will it impact us? How do we want it to impact us? How do we think it will impact us? I'm very worried. CIG's history is not good with things like these, but this is what my expectations for 2022 are for them, is that the impacts on the things that they put in the game they have to be larger than what they've been in the past. Whatever tier 0 is has to be more impactful to the player than it has in the past. And for something that is as massive and impactful as a cargo refactor, I really hope that we see significant change there. But history is what it is with Star Citizen, and I don't have high expectations, but I am trying to put out there what my high expectations would be and hope that they fall in line with what CIG is capable of doing now with their current tech. Also, what they really want to do. And I know that the devs and all the devs that we watch on the shows and stuff care, and they want to make things better, and they want to make things great. And it just seems like a lot of the time their hands are tied with things. They always talk about needing multiple teams and all those things. I wonder sometimes with communication, is the communication problem between teams of not all being on the same page? I think the biggest thing I want to see happen with Star Citizen is when they do a patch, I want it to be themed. So 3.18 should be the cargo patch, right? That should be the big theme, and all the teams are working on a common goal together, whether it's certain aspects of the cargo refactor, cargo missions, tractor beams on ships, cargo entity like damage, all of these things that tie into cargo. It is full. Everybody at the company that's working on the PU is working on a theme, and everybody's team that works on different things can tie into that theme. It seems like there's a lot of disjointedness of, well, we got the cargo refactor going on, but we also have this other random thing here that this team could have been helping out with the cargo refactor, but they're doing this thing. So that's how I look at it. But that's just my opinion. We heard some other people's, and I want to hear yours on Twitch when I stop the show, and as well as on YouTube when I check out the comments. So again, this was Answer the Call, Sundays, 10 a.m. Eastern Time. It's twitch.tv/SaltEMike. And yeah, subscribe, and comment down below if you guys are watching on YouTube. Thanks for watching, everybody.